Silent preparation. The grand chamber of the Galactic Consortium hummed with tension. Holographic representatives from 37 spacefaring civilizations flickered in and out as connection stability wavered across the vast distances of space. At the center of the chamber, a simple message hovered in three-dimensional projection. You cannot stop what's coming. No signature, no explanation. Just 7 words transmitted from Earth, breaking nearly 80 years of self-imposed silence. High Admiral Vex Lorn, representing the militaristic Ardovian Empire, let out a sound halfway between a laugh and a snarl. His scaled skin shimmered under the blue light of the holographic displays. Is this some kind of primitive threat? He hissed, mandibles clicking in amusement. From humans. The other representatives exchanged glances. Earth was a peculiarity in the galactic community. After initial contact a century ago, humanity had engaged enthusiastically in trade, cultural exchange, and diplomatic relations. Then, seemingly without provocation, they had withdrawn, closed their embassies, recalled their diplomats, shut down all non-essential communications with off-world entities. For decades, they had maintained only the minimal contact required by the Consortium's basic interspecies relations accord. Trade dwindled to almost nothing. Humans stopped traveling beyond their solar system. And now, this cryptic message. Perhaps they've finally gone mad from isolation, suggested Clera, the gelatinous ambassador of the Morrigan Collective. Her translucent body pulsed with bioluminescent colors as she spoke. The psychological profiles of their species always indicated tendencies toward paranoia. Supreme Coordinator Thal, representing the Consortium's Executive Council, raised a 4-fingered hand for silence. Unlike most of the representatives, Thal was physically present, his tall, slender form towering over the holographic projections. Has Earth violated any treaties with this communication? He asked, his voice measured and calm. The juridical AI embedded in the chamber walls responded immediately. Negative. The message contains no explicit threat, no declaration of hostile intent, and no violation of communication protocols. Thal nodded slowly. Then we acknowledge receipt and continue monitoring. Earth has chosen isolation. We will respect that choice while maintaining vigilance. But High Admiral Vex Lorn was not satisfied. The Ardovians had never fully trusted humans, finding their rapid technological adaptation disturbing. In just a few decades of contact with other species, humanity had reverse-engineered technologies that had taken others centuries to develop. With respect, Supreme Coordinator, Vex Lorn said, a pattern of behavior followed by a cryptic warning suggests preparation for aggression. The Ardovian Empire recommends a preemptive deterrence operation. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The Consortium had not engaged in preemptive deterrence against any species in over 300 years. That would require a full council vote, Thal reminded him, and substantial evidence of hostile intent. Then perhaps we should gather such evidence, Vex Lorn suggested, his voice silky with menace. The reconnaissance fleet approached the Sol system with caution. 5 Ardovian vessels, sleek and predatory, slipped past the outer dwarf planets with active camouflage engage. Their mission: assess Earth's military capabilities, collect intelligence on any unusual activities, and report back without detection. Commander Zexera stood on the bridge of the flagship Relentless Hunter, watching as the blue-green planet grew larger on the main viewscreen. Earth looked peaceful, unremarkable, just as it had when the Ardovians had last visited decades ago. Scan for defense systems, she ordered. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Commander Visk, manipulated the holographic controls. No detection of orbital defense platforms. No energy shields. No weapon systems on standby. Their satellite network appears primitive. Zexera's inner eyelids blinked in confusion. That can't be right. Deeper scans. Running full spectrum analysis now, Visk confirmed. After a moment, he looked up in surprise. Commander, they have fewer satellites than they did 50 years ago. Their space presence has decreased. This made no sense. Species didn't regress technologically, especially not humans, who had been so eager to advance. Zexera felt the scales on the back of her neck rise in instinctive warning. What about their orbital stations? The Human International Space Station was decommissioned. There's a small research outpost on their moon, minimally staffed. A handful of automated research platforms around the system. Nothing else. Zexera stared at the planet, trying to reconcile this information with the warning message. You cannot stop what's coming. Yet Earth appeared defenseless, almost primitive compared to consortium standards. We're being played, she decided. They want us to underestimate them. Take us closer to the planet. Passive scans only. The relentless hunter glided silently toward Earth, its sister ships spreading out to cover more area. They passed Mars without incident. No alarms, no signs of detection. Commander, Visk said suddenly, I'm detecting unusual quantum fluctuations. Source: uncertain. It's everywhere, like background noise, but with patterns. Zexera felt her unease grow. Is it affecting our systems? Negative. But Visk never finished his sentence. The universe shifted. There was no other way to describe it. For a microsecond, reality seemed to blur at the edges. Zexera felt a wave of nausea as her inner ear struggled to orient itself. And then the ship to their starboard, the Swift Strike, was gone. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Gone. Where once had been a warship carrying 300 Ardovian crew members, there was now only empty space. What just happened? Zexera demanded, fighting to keep panic from her voice. Where's the Swift Strike? Visk's hands flew over the controls. No debris field. No radiation. No distress signal. It's as if it never existed. Hail them. No response on any frequency. Before Zexera could issue another command, it happened again. The reality blur. The momentary disorientation. And this time, 2 more ships vanished silently from existence. Full retreat, she ordered, cold fear gripping her hearts. Maximum speed back to the jump point. The relentless hunter pivoted and accelerated, its sister ship, the Dawnbreaker, matching its course. They hadn't even cleared Mars' orbit when the quantum fluctuations intensified. Commander, Visk's voice was tight with controlled terror. Something's following us. The sensors showed nothing, but Zexera didn't need instruments to know her second-in-command was right. Something was hunting them. Send a transmission to High Command, she ordered. Emergency protocol. Full data package. The blur came again, stronger this time. When Zexera's vision cleared, the Dawnbreaker was gone. Alone now, the relentless hunter pushed its engines beyond safety limits. Zexera watched the view screen with desperate intensity as they approached the jump point that would take them out of this cursed system. Transmission sent, Visk confirmed. Jump calculations complete. Ready on your mark. Execute jump. The familiar sensation of folded space began to envelop the ship. For a heartbeat, Zexera thought they would make it. Then the quantum fluctuations returned, stronger than ever, and the jump corridor collapsed. The ship lurched violently, throwing crew members against bulkheads. Warning sirens blared as systems failed across all decks. What's happening? Zexera demanded, pulling herself up from the floor. The main view screen flickered back to life, but instead of showing the space around them, it displayed a human face. Male, middle-aged by their standards, with dark skin and calm eyes that seemed to look directly into Zexera's soul. You were not invited here, the human said simply. Zexera drew herself up. Even in defeat, an Ardovian commander showed courage. What did you do to my ships? My people. They have been relocated, the human replied. Unharmed, but far from here. A courtesy we extend only to unauthorized observation. Had you come with weapons hot, there would have been no mercy. How? Zexera began, but the human interrupted. You cannot comprehend how yet, but you will deliver a message to your leaders. To the consortium, to all who would consider Earth a target. The same message we sent before. You cannot stop what's coming. The screen went black, and Zexera felt the ship shudder as an external force took control of its navigation systems. They were being sent home, alive, but with their pride shattered and their questions multiplied. The emergency session of the Consortium Council was chaotic. The Ardovian delegation was calling for immediate military action. Other species demanded answers about technology that could make ships vanish without a trace. Some suggested negotiation. Others recommended a full quarantine of the Sol system. In the midst of the uproar, Supreme Coordinator Thal received a private communication. The message was brief, but its implications vast. Quantum observer effect weaponized. Humans can unwrite reality. Recommend extreme caution. Thal looked up at the holographic representatives arguing around him. None of them understood yet. This wasn't just another interspecies conflict. This wasn't about territory or resources or ideology. Something had changed on Earth during their decades of silence. Something fundamental. Silence. Thal commanded, his voice cutting through the din. The chamber gradually quieted. I propose, Thal said carefully, that we send a formal diplomatic mission to Earth. Not a military force. Not spies. Diplomats with an open invitation for Earth to rejoin the galactic community. High Admiral Vexlorn's hologram blazed with indignation. After what they did to our reconnaissance fleet, they must be held accountable. Your reconnaissance fleet violated their sovereign space without authorization, Thal countered. And according to Commander Zexera's own report, no lives were lost. The ships and crews have simply been relocated. To where? Someone called out. Thal spread his hands. That is among the many questions our diplomatic mission will ask. The vote was close, but in the end, diplomacy prevailed over military action. A delegation would be assembled, led by Thal himself. They would approach Earth openly, with transparency and respect. As the council session adjourned, Clara of the Morrigan Collective pulsed close to Thal. You know something you're not sharing, she accused, her color shifting to suspicious yellows and oranges. Thal regarded her thoughtfully. The Morrigan were renowned for their intuition. I suspect, he said quietly, that we've been fundamentally misunderstanding the human message. Explain. You cannot stop what's coming. Thal quoted. We interpreted it as a threat. What if it's a warning? What if they've discovered something, or created something, that will change everything? And they've been preparing for it all these years. Clara's colors flickered rapidly as she processed this perspective. What could be so significant? Thal looked toward the holographic representation of the Milky Way that hung permanently at the center of the council chamber. Billions of stars, countless planets, civilizations rising and falling across the eons. I don't know, he admitted, but I intend to find out. The diplomatic vessel was being prepared. Soon, they would face whatever humanity had become, and perhaps discover what exactly was coming. The reckoning. The consortium diplomatic vessel Eternal Dialogue emerged from its jump point at the edge of the Sol system. Unlike the Ardovian reconnaissance ships, it made no attempt at stealth. Its transponders broadcast clear identification and intent on all standard frequencies. Supreme Coordinator Thal stood on the bridge, watching the distant blue dot of Earth grow incrementally larger on the view screen. Beside him, the diplomatic team, representatives from 12 different species, waited in nervous silence. We're receiving a response to our hail, announced the communications officer, her feathered crest rising in surprise. Text only. Display it, Thal ordered. The message appeared on the main screen, simple and direct. Diplomatic party of 12 may proceed to coordinates attached. No weapons. Your vessel will remain at current position. A set of planetary coordinates followed, somewhere in a region humans called Switzerland. Clara, representing the Morrigan Collective, pulsed with cautious blue light. They're allowing us to land. After 80 years of isolation. It appears so, Thal replied, though he shared her skepticism. Prepare the shuttle. Standard diplomatic protocol. The journey to Earth was tense but uneventful. No quantum fluctuations disrupted their path. No mysterious forces intercepted them. The shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere without incident, following the provided coordinates to a landing pad nestled among snow-capped mountains. As the diplomats disembarked, Thal was struck by Earth's raw natural beauty. Many advanced civilizations transformed their homeworlds beyond recognition, but humans had preserved vast swaths of wilderness. The air was crisp, clean, and entirely natural, not processed through environmental systems. A single human waited to greet them. Female, older, with silver hair and dark eyes that seemed to evaluate each delegate with extraordinary precision. "Welcome to Earth," she said simply. "I am Director Ileana Chen of the Terran Cooperation Initiative. Please follow me." She led them to a building that seemed to grow organically from the mountainside, its architecture blending seamlessly with the natural surroundings. Inside, the structure opened into a vast chamber with windows overlooking a breathtaking alpine valley. Rather than the expected conference table, the room contained a circular arrangement of comfortable seating. At the center stood a holographic projection system far more sophisticated than anything the consortium possessed. Director Chen gestured toward the seating. "Please, make yourselves comfortable. Refreshments suitable for all your physiologies are available." Once the delegates were settled, Chen activated the holographic system. A three-dimensional representation of the galaxy materialized in the center of the room, rotating slowly. "You've come seeking answers about our message," she began without preamble. "About what is coming that cannot be stopped." Thal leaned forward. "Yes. And about the technology you used against the Ardovian vessels." Chen's expression remained neutral. "Those ships entered our system uninvited, with active scanning technology and military intent. They were relocated without harm as a proportional response." "Relocated where, exactly?" asked the Ardovian representative, struggling to keep hostility from her voice. "To the other side of your empire," Chen replied. "Approximately 600 light-years from here. Their jump drives were temporarily disabled, but should be operational again within the next standard week." Murmurs spread through the delegation. Such transportation technology was theoretically impossible according to known physics. Thal raised a hand for silence. "Director Chen, you spoke of what is coming. We need to understand if this represents a threat to galactic stability." Chen studied them for a long moment, then sighed. "It is not a threat from humanity, Coordinator Thal. We have spent these decades preparing for something far beyond ourselves." She manipulated the holographic controls, and the galactic image zoomed in on a particular region near the core. A wave of strange energy appeared, spreading outward. 78 years ago, our deep space observers detected a quantum anomaly originating from the galactic core. At first, we thought it was a natural phenomenon, perhaps a previously unknown type of stellar event. The hologram showed the wave continuing its expansion, passing through star systems. But as we studied it, we realized it was neither natural nor random. This wave represents a fundamental alteration to the quantum substrate of our reality. "Impossible," declared the Zethkar scientist, his bony ridges flushing with skepticism. "The quantum substrate is the foundation of existence. It cannot be altered." Chen smiled thinly. 50 years ago, we would have agreed with you, but the evidence became irrefutable. Something, or someone, is rewriting the basic rules of our universe." The hologram shifted again, showing planetary systems before and after the wave passed through them. The changes were subtle but profound: altered orbital patterns, shifted elemental compositions, modified energy signatures. "When we first detected this phenomenon, we tried to warn the consortium," Chen continued. "Your scientific council dismissed our findings as primitive misunderstandings of quantum mechanics, so we withdrew. We needed to focus all our resources on preparation." "Preparation for what?" Cleaver asked, her gelatinous form undulating with anxiety. For adaptation, Chen replied. The wave will reach Earth's region of space in approximately 5 years. When it does, the fundamental constants that govern everything from electromagnetic forces to atomic cohesion will shift. Most technology will fail. Most artificial structures will collapse. Most complex life forms will struggle to survive the transition. Horror spread through the diplomatic team as the implications became clear. This wasn't about politics or military posturing. This was extinction level. If what you're saying is true, Thal said carefully, why haven't our own scientists detected this phenomenon? Because you weren't looking for it, Chen explained. And because the precursor effects are only visible through quantum observation technology that you haven't developed yet. The technology you used to relocate our ships, the Ardovian representative realized. Chen nodded. When we understood what was coming, we focused our research on quantum manipulation. We learned to observe and influence reality at its most fundamental level. This technology was a byproduct of our preparation, not its goal. And you believe you can survive this wave? Asked a skeptical Drillioth delegate. We know we can, Chen stated with quiet confidence. We've spent decades preparing our infrastructure, our biology, our very civilization to function within the new quantum parameters. We've encoded the necessary adaptations into our genetic structure, our technology, even our cultural frameworks. She manipulated the holographic display again, revealing massive structures hidden throughout the Sol system. Inside moons, buried in asteroids, submerged in the atmospheres of gas giants. These are quantum stabilization arrays. When the wave hits, they'll create protective bubbles around Earth and our colonies. Not to prevent the changes, that's impossible, but to ensure the transition happens gradually enough for adaptive measures to succeed. Thal felt a growing sense of dread. And the rest of the galaxy. Chen's expression softened with genuine regret. That's why we sent the warning. You cannot stop what's coming, but you might still prepare for it if you act now. The chamber fell silent as the implications settled over the delegation. Billions of lives across thousands of worlds, all at risk from an approaching reality shift they couldn't detect. Why should we believe any of this? The Ardovian representative demanded, though her voice lacked conviction. This could be an elaborate deception to explain away military technology that violates consortium treaties. Chen sighed. I anticipated skepticism. She tapped a control, and a new holographic display appeared, complex quantum equations and observational data. These are our complete findings, methodology, and the designs for basic quantum detection equipment you can build with your current technology. Verify our claims independently. Thal studied the human diplomat. In his centuries of service to the consortium, he had developed a keen sense for deception across species. He detected none here, only urgency and perhaps a trace of pity. If we confirm your findings, he said slowly, would Earth be willing to share this adaptation technology? That's why we've finally broken our silence, Chen replied. The preparations are complete for humanity. We can now turn our attention outward. We're offering to help anyone willing to accept it. At what cost? Asked the Zethkar representative suspiciously. Survival has no price tag, Counselor, Chen said simply. But it does require trust and collaboration. The meeting continued for hours as the diplomats asked questions, challenged assumptions, and gradually came to accept the terrifying reality. When they finally prepared to depart, Thal lingered behind. There's something you haven't shared with the full delegation, he said quietly to Chen when they were alone. She raised an eyebrow, neither confirming nor denying. The source of the wave, Thal continued. You know what's causing it, don't you? Chen was silent for a long moment. Then she reactivated the holographic display, zooming to the very center of the galaxy. There, barely visible through the dense stellar field, was a structure, clearly artificial, monumentally vast. We call it the Architect, she said softly. We detected its energy signature at the epicenter of the quantum wave. Whatever it is, whether a machine, a living entity, or something beyond our comprehension. It's remaking the galaxy according to some design we don't yet understand. Gods, Thal whispered. Perhaps, Chen acknowledged. Or perhaps something older than gods. We've found fragments of data in ancient ruins suggesting this has happened before, that the universe undergoes periodic resets when certain conditions are met. And humanity. What do you hope to achieve by surviving this reset? Chen's eyes met his, and for a moment Thal glimpsed something ancient and determined in their depths. First, we survive, she said. Then we help others survive. And one day, when we're ready, we find the architect and learn why. 6 months later, the Galactic Consortium had been transformed. After independently verifying Earth's findings, even the most skeptical species had embraced the human adaptation protocols. Quantum detection arrays were being constructed throughout civilized space. Genetic modification programs were underway to help biological entities survive the coming changes. And at the center of it all was humanity, no longer isolated, but leading with quiet confidence. The species that had disappeared for 80 years had returned as saviors, freely sharing the technology and knowledge that might preserve galactic civilization. Supreme Coordinator Thal stood in his private observatory, looking out at the stars. A small quantum detector, a gift from Director Chen, sat on his desk, its readings confirming what he now knew. The wave was real. It was coming, and nothing could stop it. But perhaps with humanity's help, they could ride it out. His communication system chimed, announcing a direct connection from Earth. Director Chen's hologram appeared beside him. Coordinator, she greeted him. I have news. Good, I hope. We've made a breakthrough in the stabilization technology. The adaptation window can be extended significantly. More species will have time to prepare. Relief washed through Thal. That is good news indeed. Chen's expression remained serious. There's more. Our deep space observers have detected something approaching from beyond the galactic rim. Multiple somethings, in fact. Not another threat? Thal asked, weariness in his voice. We don't think so, Chen said, a hint of wonder entering her voice. The quantum signatures suggest they're similar to the architect, but smaller, and they're heading directly toward it. What does it mean? Chen's hologram smiled slightly. We think they might be coming to stop it. I thought nothing could stop what's coming, Thal said, echoing the warning that had started everything. That's what we believed, Chen admitted. But perhaps we're not the only ones who have been preparing. The hologram showed a new image, distant objects moving with purpose toward the galactic core, their energy signatures unlike anything they cataloged before. We'll continue the adaptation protocols, Chen assured him. But there may be more to this story than we realized. As the hologram faded, Thal turned back to the stars. For the first time since learning about the wave, he felt something beyond grim determination, a flicker of hope. The universe was stranger and more wonderful than they had imagined. The rules were changing. Reality itself was in flux. But they would face it together, humans and aliens alike, united by the most basic desire in existence, to continue existing. And perhaps, just perhaps, they were not alone in that fight. In the depths of space, aboard a vessel beyond human comprehension, entities of pure consciousness observed the preparations unfolding across the galaxy. They had witnessed countless cycles of the architect's work, the periodic resetting of reality to prevent entropic collapse. The humans have surprised us again. One entity communicated to another. They not only detected the recalibration wave, but developed means to survive it, and shared those means with others. The second entity noted. Curious behavior. Perhaps not so curious. A third entity joined the conversation. They understood instinctively what we learned over eons. Survival is sweeter when shared. The vessel continued its journey toward the galactic core, where the architect waited, neither malevolent nor benevolent, simply performing its function as it had for billions of years. This time, however, something new awaited it. Species working together. Adaptations rather than extinctions. and observers who had finally decided to become participants. "You cannot stop what's coming," the first entity mused, echoing the human morning. "But perhaps together, we can reshape it." The vessel accelerated, carrying its passengers toward their destiny and the galaxies. The game was changing, and humanity had unwittingly dealt the first new card in billions of years.